So, good afternoon, Excellency, Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. May I now commence the program. Warmly welcome to our seventh panel discussion of AVI-SDG Dialogue. My name is Kim Liang, a junior researcher of Center for Sustainable Development Study of Asian Vision Institute. This is my great pleasure to be a moderator for today's discussion. And our AVI-SDG Dialogue today have brought the 7 topics of our webinar series on responsibility, consumption, and production to the floor discussion. And we would like to acknowledge on what are the progress challenge in achieving goals 12 of SDG, what are the key interventions being implemented to support for responsibility consumption and production amid the COVID-19 pandemics, and what are the proposed short-term intervention and long-term intervention for post-COVID recovery. Last is what are the role of multi-stakeholder and public's play to support the process. Excellency, Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In this meantime, we are honored to have our permanent leader and researcher in our diverse development field who will deliver their valuable comment in our program today. And before starting our program, please allow me to introduce our honorable speaker who are waiting on the screen to share their presentation. Without further ado, I would like to first please allow me to introduce Her Excellency first, please allow me to introduce our Dr. Jerome Franklin, Senior Regional Officer of Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI. Dr. Jerome Franklin is a Senior Regional Officer of Global Green Growth Institute, covering in Mekong region. He has been supported Cambodian government on the waste policy and infrastructure project for the past 4 years. And he has a PhD in chemistry and have been working in the waste sector for over 12 years, notably in environment protection authority with real in Australia. And the GGGI is a treaty-based international intergovernmental organization dedicated to support and promoting the strong, inclusive, sustainable economic growth in developing countries and emerging economics. And the second, please allow me to introduce our valuable speaker, Dr. Sajid Idrisaria from Jigman in Semen company. Dr. Sajid is a general manager of Jigman EcoCycle, which is the waste management arm of the Jigman in Semen company, and has been a part of organization since early 2017. Prior to joining Jigman in C, he have worked as the various multinational company in cement, waste management, and worked as the various multinational company in insurance sector in Sri Lanka and Cambodia. He holds a doctoral degree in business strategy implementation, and he have more than 15-year experience in the area of waste management, sustainable development, strategy planning, and execution, projects management, corporate finance, business development in various organizations. And he have extensive experience in lecturing in various universities in business institutes as the part-time lecturer. Last but not least, please give a big applause to our honorable speaker, Her Excellency Jigman Lina from the Ministry of Environment. Her Excellency is a Deputy Secretary General of National Council of Sustainable Development, Ministry of Environment. Her Excellency have graduated in medical doctoral in Cambodia with further graduated principal epidemiology in UCLA and master degree of health and international development in Australia. Her Excellency had 18-year professional experience working in the Ministry of Health in providing medical service and public health works. With the current position in the Ministry of Environment for about 5 years, Her Excellency have experience in supporting policy and strategy development for environmental education, green economy, and sustainable development, such as policy of environmental education, environmentally friendly, circular, economic, and sustainable consumption and production. Excellency, Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To follow our agenda today, we will start our captivating program with the first agenda on the companies driving the sustainable consumption and production pattern, which will convey the speak by Ms. Dr. Sajid, representative from Jigman in Semen, and the second on GGGI support for sustainable consumption and production pattern in Cambodia, and the speak will be delivered by Dr. Jerome. And the third agenda will be on sustainable consumption and production pattern and the achievement of SDG 12, which will given the speak by Her Excellency Lina. And for our last agenda, we will open for the floor discussion. And then we will have a group photo session with our honorable speaker at the end of our program. Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to have any question during the presentation period, please drop your question on our Zoom chat box or Facebook Live. So our team will collect all the questions for our speaker. So without further ado, I would like to invite our honorable speaker from Jigman in Semen Company, Dr. Sajid, to deliver his speech. Dr. Sajid, please, the floor is yours. You haven't opened your mic.
Sorry. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
So thank you very much for giving me the floor. And thank you very much for inviting us to share the experience that we have and the plans that we are going to do. So, within another couple of minutes time, I will explain what are the initiatives that we are going as a Jigman INSEE in order to have a sustainable future and have a responsible consumption and production, right? So before go to the present slides, I would like to give some facts. So because due to the lack of sustainable consumption, what will happen to our world? So if we are consumed like this, what will happen is actually within another 2 to 3 decades time, we required 2 planets to live, 2 planets to get the resource to consume, right? So therefore, at the moment, it is one of the urgent need for us to act responsibly. Responsible consumptions, sustainable consumption is required in order to mitigate this issue that we are going to face in future. So that is one of the key things that we want to keep in mind. So by saying that, So as a Chipmong INSEE, what are the things that we are doing and what are the things that we are planning to do, I will share. So, by looking at the previous slide, you can see as a corporate, we also have a greater responsibility in order to mitigate that things it comes in the future. So therefore, as a good corporate citizen, Chipmong INSEE have put their sustainable ambition of 2030, and then we are driving several key initiatives in order to mitigate this as a good corporate citizen. So we started our operation 2017 in Cambodia, which is to produce the cement. So then 2017 September, we start with our production until now for almost 4 years, we are doing the operations, right? So by looking at these 4 years, we have a very, what we call action-oriented sustainability targets. So basically why I'm saying that, if you look at the numbers that we shown in the right hand top side, these are the CO2 specific CO2 emission of our Chipmong INSEE. So when we are starting our operation 2017, that is 2018, beginning of 2018, our CO2 emission per kilogram of cement, you can see 849 kilograms are emit to produce 1 ton of cement. So within last 4 years time, we are happy to say that 20 to 25% of our CO2 has been reduced with serious activities. It's not coming like it's not come as a default. So it's like there are several activities we have done. So then now we are happy to say that we are 25% lower than what we started in the CO2. How we have done that one? So there are several key initiatives, 4 key initiatives that we have, 3 key initiatives we have driven. One thing is actually renewable energy. So so I will explain these things in detail in the next slides, couple of slides. But 2 things that we have done for that. One thing actually we have installed the solar, which has a 10 megawatt peak. And that is one thing. Other one is actually there are some waste heat that we generate in our process, which we have been used and replace some of our grid power. That is a 2 initiative that we have done. And then second thing is actually sustainable product portfolio. So that we have developed a product which is greener product we have developed. That is another initiative. I will explain later the detail. So, and third part is actually one of the most important part. We have launched a new business unit called EcoCycle, Chipmong EcoCycle, which is a waste management business unit, which will help to bring some of the what we call industrial waste from the industries and replace some of our fossil fuel, right? So that is another part that we have done. And last but not least is actually we are having a clear targets to reduce our water intake from the ground. So that is another part. We are not going to, our target is to get, we are not going to touch much groundwater, try to capture the water from our ponds and try to use those things. Those are the clear targets that we have. So these are the main initiatives. So let me go and elaborate this more. Right. First one is actually this renewable energy. Now, if you look at 40% of our electrical power are generated from the renewable energy sources. Example, solar. So we have a 10 megawatt peak solar farm. We have floating solar. You can see in the right hand side down. We have floating solar, which is generating 3 megawatt, and we have a 7 megawatt generated from our rooftop solar. So both we can get 8% of our power requirement. You know, cement industry is one of the highly energy consumed industry. So therefore, we are very keen on that. Even we get the 10 megawatt peak, you can see only 8% can be replaced, right? So, but everything matters to reduce this energy consumption. So another thing is, we are having the waste heat recovery units, which is actually we are capturing our heat waste heat from our preheaters and coolers, and then after that we are running the what do you call, by using those boilers, we are running the turbine through the boilers. We are getting the steam and running the turbines and generating the electrical power. So from that we are replacing 30% of our power, which is almost now 40% of our power was renewable energy, which is quite significant if you compare with the energy requirement, electrical energy requirement from the cement plants, right? So that is one. And second part is actually the waste management. So what we are doing is actually, you can see, if you look at our, what do you call, if you look at our business model here, we have a Jigman Eco Cycle, which is the waste management business unit, and Jigman INSEE. Therefore, what the Jigman Eco Cycle is doing is, we are going to the industries, garment industry, footwear industries, or likewise the factories, which is have almost 1,700, 2,000 factories in Cambodia. So we are offering our solution, and we are getting, because they have a pain point at the moment, because they are generating some waste, they are generating a lot of waste, but at the moment there's no proper solution. Most of the waste are dumping in the landfill site. So what we are doing is actually we go and say that, okay, we are giving a solution to them, from them, and then we are getting their waste and transported into our facilities, and then we are pre-processing the waste. That means we cannot put that waste directly into our process. We have to process the waste, size reductions, or physical things, or chemical characteristics. Yeah, sorry. So some like blending, mixing, this kind of things we are doing, and then we are making the compatible material to the cement kiln. So that means we are doing two things. One is actually we are going to the customers, and we are getting the waste, and we are processing the waste, and then we are put into the cement kiln. So when you are put into the cement kiln, we have to process properly. So this technology we are calling the co-processing. It's a globally accepted solution. You can see there are European Union, United States Environmental Protection Agencies, and Stockholm Convention, Basel Convention. All these people are this is actually fully recognized, and this is and there are a lot of countries like Europe, US, Japan. Not only that, even the Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Thailand, all these neighboring countries are doing this. For the Cambodia, we are the first time we are doing this. So here, how we are doing this, actually we have two main features in the cement kiln. You can see the right hand side, you can see the bigger cylinder kind of thing, that is the cement kiln. By using this in the cement kiln, we require the cement kiln to produce the clinker, which is a semi-finished goods of the cement. In order to produce this cement, you require that high temperature, which is 1,800 to 2,000. Normally in the material temperature 1,450. So by using this temperature, we are making the clinker. What we are doing is actually in that process, we are disposing the waste. By putting the waste, we are disposing that temperature. So that means what we are doing is actually, due to the two main characteristics that we have in the cement kiln, one is actually temperature, and other one is the residence time. So using these two features, we are disposing the waste environment friendly, and there's no harm to the environment, because the temperature is high. Then therefore at that temperature levels, it avoids the formation of dioxin and furans, and on the same time we are having like a what do you call, it's a 100% energy recovery and 100% of material recovery. Therefore there's a zero residues to the landfill. Most of the waste management solution like incineration and things, you can see once you put the waste, and then there will be a residues, ash. So but in this process, there's a zero residue for the landfill, right? So this is our process. By using this, what we are doing is actually two things. We are giving the solution. At the moment there's a crisis for the waste that generate industries, we are giving the solution. On the same time, there are waste that which we can use, replace our fossil fuel, that is coal, by using this waste. So it's a perfect example for the circular economy part, right? So that is one part. And if you look at the results that we have got, within the last 2 years of the operation of this EcoCycle business unit. At the moment, we have work in more than 130 factories. So our clients, our customers are every day we are getting new customers because it's a sustainable solution. We are working with the multinational brands. Like Adidas, H&M, you name it, most of the international brands are working with us. So on the same time, we are replacing the 15% to sometimes 20-25% of the fossil fuel by using some of this waste. And at the moment, we have used almost 100 kilotons of industrial waste and agriculture waste. And we have invested only for the EcoCycle, that waste management unit, is $6 million, more than $6 million we have invested. And we are continuously invest and increase our capability, increase our infrastructure. Next Monday, we are going to open our new hazardous waste facilities also in next Monday. So likewise, these 2 years, we have done a lot of things. And by looking at these numbers, we are reduced like 110 kilotons of CO2 by replacing the fossil fuel for the burning by using this waste. And I can give one example because there are a lot of things that we can discuss here, but due to the time constraint, I'm not going to discuss much on this. But I will give one example. It's a perfect example for the industrial symbiosis. That is the garment and footwear industry and the cement industry. So at the moment, we are giving the solution for the garment and footwear industry. So if you look at in the garment and footwear industry, in this process, you can see there are waste coming. So what we are doing is this waste we are bringing to the Jigman EcoCycle facilities, and we are processing this waste, and then after that we will use in the cement kiln. So then zero residue for the landfill. So if you look at, we started 2019 December with 2 garment factories. Now we have 80 garment factories as at October working with us, and we are targeting 100 this year. Next year we are going to double it because there are a lot of what you call potential we can see here with the current infrastructure. So therefore we are continuously working with them. And this is one of the good example because it's one industry waste we are going to use in other industry, which is a perfect example of the industry symbiosis. Right. Apart from that, that is about the waste management. But if you look at the Jigman INSEE, our main product is cement. Our main product is cement. So therefore, there is another greater responsibility that we have is we want to make a greener products. So therefore, I try to move our product portfolio to the greener. So there are several activities that we have done. We have launched our first composite cement in 2019 June called Camel Strong, which is actually lower clinker factor. You know, clinker factor means actually normally, if you look at the cement, the composition, we have a clinker is the majority. Normally, it's like previously have a 90% of the product is consist of the clinker. In order to produce the clinker, we have to put more energy and things. Therefore, the CO2 point of view, if you have a higher clinker factor means you have a higher consumption, higher emission of CO2. Therefore, what we are doing is we are trying to reduce the clinker factor without compromising the product quality, and we are trying to enhance even the product quality by using different materials. So, therefore, previously it was 92% of clinker factor we reduced to in this product 80% by using different material like some other materials. That is one. On the same time, we have made a product called Camel Green, which is a masonry product. You know, previously in the traditional world, the people think, okay, cement, one cement bag can be used for any application, plastering or concreting, everything they can use one, but it is not like that. We don't require that similar characteristic for that. Therefore, we can have a different product which has a greener, which has a sustainable for the environment also, because example Camel Green, we don't require higher clinker factor, so which is low emission. So that product also we have now in the market. On the recently, we have add another product for the bulk segment. Bulk means mainly that is bag is, you can say, retail market. Bulk is a B2B market. For that also we have now called product called OptiFlow, which is help to develop the help to optimize the mix design, which will be then reduce the cement consumption. So reduce the cement consumption is a sustainable. So that is another part. On the same time, in future, we are targeting to use some of the byproducts of the other industry, like a coal power plant. They have a fly ash and ash. This ash can be used in our process, and we are going to make some enriched and enhanced product in future. So therefore, we are continuously investing in all these activities in order to make a sustainable production and consumption. So therefore, on the same time, in order to make this one, we have to be innovative. So our teams are very innovative. We have technical teams who are supporting the customers, who are supporting to the masons, who are supporting the contractors, who are using this cement, and try to optimize the usage of cement rather than doing the over designs and things. We are having laboratories, we have a technical teams, we have technical equipments which support to the market to improve the levels. So these are about some pictures. So that's about my presentation. But in finally, you can say, yes, competition is head, but our competition is not with the commercial competitors. Our competition is not with the cement companies. Our competitors is not with the waste management companies. Our competition is, I think everyone's competition is with the CO2 and demand for the energy. And we have to make a sustainable future for the people and societies, our future generations. That is the competition that we have. So we have to work together and make it happen, I think, because tomorrow matters. And if you look at if we are talking about SDGs, actually, I select these SDGs because we are trying to enhance our things in order to achieve these SDGs. So I think if you have any question, you can raise. I don't know. Probably there will be a quick Q&A session in the later. So thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Satit, for your nice presentation, which will be a good start for our discussion later. And I would like to invite the next speaker from the Global Green Growth Institute, Dr. Jerome Franklin, to convey his remark. Doctor, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will share. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. I've got a few slides as well. Can you see the slides?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so yeah, so hi, so my name is Jerome Fakri. You've introduced me and my organization already, so I won't spend too much time on it. Let's say we're an international organization, intergovernmental organization. So we basically service the governments of our member states, and Cambodia is a founding member of GGGI. So we've been working with the Cambodian government since 2012, and we've had an office in Cambodia since 2015. And myself, I've been in Phnom Penh for 4 years now, working with multiple ministries on solid waste management and wastewater management as well. So our thematic areas are sustainable energy, sustainable landscapes, so for example, agriculture, forestry, green cities, which covers anything from transport to housing to green spaces to waste management and so on. Also green investment services, so supporting projects with identifying financing. And obviously climate action and inclusive development is a big part of what we do. So obviously today is about SDG 12. So I will focus on our work in Cambodia on solid waste management and also on energy efficiency. So yeah, this is at a glance GGDI. So we now have 41 member countries, and you can see a nice spread around the world. The headquarters are in South Korea, in Seoul. So first onto solid waste management. So most of you would be familiar with the waste hierarchy, with the green part being really the component of circular economy, with, in order of preference, minimizing the amount of waste, and then where possible, reusing or recycling. And when it's not possible, energy recovery can be a good option, as shown by Sajid in the previous presentation. So our work in the last few years in Cambodia has been focusing mostly on recycling and energy recovery. So source separation, collection, transport, recycling, and downstream processing of waste. So obviously we do a lot of awareness raising on reducing and reusing, but we also have to acknowledge that some waste, a lot of waste will still be produced, and that waste needs to be recycled, or it needs landfill, if possible, needs to be avoided. So I will just talk briefly about 3 projects that we have done in Cambodia, one in Battambang, one in Kep, and one in Phnom Penh. So the one in Battambang ran from 2018 to 2020, and it focused on implementing source separation of recyclables. So targeting plastic waste, like plastic bottles, plastic bags, and also organic waste. So market waste like food, like fruit, vegetables, and agricultural waste. So some of the work we did was to implement source separation systems in markets and schools. So it included basically providing collection banks to segregate the waste, and also organizing transport to the relevant recycling facility. And it is important because if you mix the waste, it cross-contaminates. So for example, the plastic gets contaminated with organic waste or juice, and then you have to clean it to be able to recycle it, and it's very expensive and therefore not suitable for, not profitable to recycle. And same with organic waste. So in Battambang, it gets composted, but when it arrives at the composting facility, if it's mixed with a lot of plastic and other contaminants, it takes a lot of time to manually separate all the contaminants. And again, it really increases the cost of production and also decreases the quality of the compost. This project, obviously, we always work with the government. So this project was implemented through the municipality of Battambang. So we also supported the municipality in designing a governance and penalty mechanism for enforcement of the waste management regulation. So sub-decree 113 is very clear on the fact that it's prohibited to burn waste, to dump waste in a river, because it's bad for the environment, it's bad for the health also. But there was no local mechanism to actually implement those regulations. So we worked with the municipality on developing such mechanism and the governance that goes with it. And it means it's an extra tool for the municipality to work with the community. Obviously, when you give a penalty or a fine to someone, it's a last resort, but it's good to have this tool available to tell people, listen, if you keep not doing the right thing, eventually you may get some penalties. So it's a tool to help people who are a bit reluctant to do the right thing to change their behavior. We also coached the local waste businesses. So again, plastic recycling, organic composting, to scale up their business and diversify their activities. So we provided some finance training, marketing, sales, and doing some investment pitches as well. And it led to the development of a second plastic recycling facility in Battambang. That's the photo that you see in the middle, which is currently being constructed. And the other 2 photos are training. So on the left, you can see the banks and the awareness raising training we did at one of the schools. So public schools are very large, as you know. So in Battambang, there's about 160,000 people. By targeting 5 schools, we already reached 10,000 people. So it's pretty significant. So schools are always quite good to target, also because obviously you talk to the younger generation that will be there for a long time, and that is very receptive to environmental education activities. The second project that is currently underway is in the city of Kep. So again, supporting the municipality of Kep. and it's on improving institutional arrangements for sustainable waste management. So it's both solid waste and also wastewater. So an issue, one of the reasons why you see a lot of rubbish in the streets in Cambodia is because collecting and managing waste is expensive. So in theory, people are supposed to pay their waste collection fees, and then the collectors are supposed to do their job, which is to collect all the waste to bring to landfills and recycling facilities and also clean the streets. But it's a vicious circle because a lot of people do not want to pay their fees because they say that the waste management service is not good enough. So why should they pay? And then the waste service provider say, I don't receive enough money, so I can't invest in better trucks. I can't pay enough workers. So how do you solve this issue? So we're working in Cap. It's a nice small municipality. It's only 22,000 people, so we think it's manageable to do such projects that is a bit ambitious. And also the leadership at the municipality is very proactive and very really wants to improve the situation. So the overall objective is for the Cape municipality to independently manage solid waste and wastewater infrastructure and operations in a transparent and financially sustainable manner. And how are we doing this? So we're supporting the municipality with establishing an independent sanitation and waste unit in the municipality. So it will be a unit that will have its own board of directors, its own accounting system, its own billing system, and its own internal procedures as well. So once this unit is up and running, they will be in charge of collecting the fees from residents with the aim to really expand waste collection to the entire city. At the moment, it's mostly the city center that is being where the waste is being collected. So the idea is to collect both revenue, so waste collection fees, and the waste in the entire city, and aim for 100%. So it will mean a lot of awareness raising, because especially in the outer areas, people are not really well used to their the impact of waste on the environment and health. So it will also obviously include developing regulations, a bit like we did in Battambang. And also progressively, if it's working well, the idea would be to also investigate recycling opportunities. So obviously, the awareness raising will also focus on consumption patterns. So educating people on using less single-use plastic, for example. That would be a big one to really reduce the amount of waste going to landfill, and also education on how to separate organic waste with solid waste so that both can be recycled as well. The third project, I won't actually say too much about it because Dr. Sajid talked a lot about it. So Phnom Penh is different to the rest of Cambodia because the waste volumes are much larger. So Phnom Penh is 3,000 tons per day going to landfill, probably close to 4,000 or 5,000 because some of it is not being collected. So, and the next city, probably Siem Reap, is 10 times less. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done on waste, and the Ministry of Environment is doing an excellent job, also supported by other development partners on circular economy, issuing regulations on plastic. I'm sure Excellency Lina will talk about it later. But ultimately, no matter what, there will always be residual waste, and then behavior change also takes a long time. So what can you do with that waste? And what we've been working with the government is on developing a mechanical and biological treatment plant, which is basically to mechanically process that waste to recover recyclable materials. So whatever valuable material that the HI have not yet collected, maybe 1-2% of metals or aluminum, some good quality plastics can potentially be removed for recycling. And then that material, also the contaminants like e-waste and the inert materials like glass and stones can be removed to increase the calorific value. And then the main output after shredding would be refuse-derived fuel, which can replace coal in cement kiln, as Dr. Sajid already outlined. And then the organic material can also be reused. So either it can be digested to make biogas for energy generation, or it can be composted if the quality is good enough, or it can also be used for land rehabilitation. So if the quality of the organic material is not so good, it can still be spread around an old landfill or an old quarry to rehabilitate the lands. So we're working with the government on it, aiming for a large-scale multi-million-dollar investments that would be beneficial to Phnom. Now I'll touch on energy efficiency. So we have a 4-year program that is funded by the European Union Switch program on promotion of sustainable energy practices in the garment sector in Cambodia. So as you know full well, garment is a very big sector in Cambodia, very important sector. There's, I think, something like 650 factories. So for this project, we're working with their association, GMAC, and also the Ministry of Industry. And the aim is to increase competitiveness and decrease environmental impact in the garment industry by 2025. And the aim of the program is to reduce greenhouse gas emission by combined 175,000 tons of CO2 equivalents per year. Also energy cost reduction by 20%. And then the knock-on effect is the creation of green jobs, those companies being more economically competitive, and also air quality would be improved because some of the issues with energy generation in the garment sector is the use of wood, the use of waste also in an uncontrolled environment. So my last slide, so that's a bit more details on the project. There's like kind of 4 pillars of activities. The first one is on developing regulatory measures. For example, we're working on developing minimum energy performance standards and also sustainable energy, developing standards for sustainable energy sources. So for example, where is the wood coming from? So there's a range of regulatory measures that we're proposing to the governments that needs further assessments, cost-benefit analysis towards potential implementation. The second one is around monitoring and verification. So we're researching good frameworks around the world and see how we could, how it's best to implement a framework in Cambodia. And the aim is to have a bit more accountability. So of these 650 garment factories, how can they be more accountable of their impact on the environment? And also how can we measure the good progresses that have been made? Another advantage of having a good monitoring and verification framework is that it can be used for trading carbon under the Paris Agreement. So Article 6 of Paris Agreement allows for trading carbons, but you need to have a robust monitoring verification system before somebody commits to buying those carbon credits. And obviously, carbon credits really supports making investment and improvement in garment factories because it adds an additional revenue to the upgrades. The third one is on factory assessments and training. So far we've conducted audits in 25 factories. We're aiming for 50, but obviously it's been a bit slow with COVID. And it's their technical audits where we're providing recommendations and training on technical upgrades that could be done at those factories to be more energy efficient, and also advise on best practices. So what could they change in their processes or their practices that would lead to a decrease in the use of energy? And finally, access to finance is also an important one. So even when you identify a technical upgrade that would pay back within 2 or 3 years, have really good return on investment, sometimes it's difficult for those companies to find investments because it could be risky because the garment sector goes up and down. So we're working with them on facilitating, or they may be able to get a loan, but then the rate would be too high, which basically kills the business model. So we're working on them. We're working with them, or we will work with them once we've identified all the required upgrades on accessing finance. So I will leave it at that, and I'm happy to answer any questions later in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jerome, for your insightful presentation. And for the last, I would like to turn the floor to our honorable speaker from Ministry of Environment, Excellency Min Lina, to deliver her remarks. Her Excellency, please, the floor is yours. Her Excellency.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes,
Do you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. And very good afternoon to all the speaker and moderator. I'm very happy and appreciate to AVI for organizing this forum for discussion on the sustainable development or sustainable consumption in Cambodia. I think that I will share a little bit some sort of what we have been done so far related with sustainable consumption and production. And yeah, as previous speakers, Dr. Sajis and Jerome has mentioned, a lot of things that have been done with by our development partner and private sector regarding to the sustainable responsibility and circular economy. And from our ministry, very thank to all our partner and development partner to join with the Ministry of Environment as well as join with our Royal Government Cambodia to work on this. I think that a lot of progress have been made so far. You know that I think that here in Cambodia, because of we have been undergoing rapid economic development and coupled with the growing population, this is very lead to demand of natural resources and energy. So the increase of consumption and material and energy lead to a growing level of waste generation. So here I think that our previous speaker have mentioned that a lot of waste and we have challenges to manage waste. Because of how to design the landfill, how to collect waste and or recycling, and yeah, this is the issue that we are in discussion and being done so far, and try to find a solution, proper solution, and work with our stakeholder and especially local authority. And as Cambodia aims to become an upper middle income country by 2013 and a high income country by 2050 in according with the rectangular strategy phase 4 with the adapt in 2018. So there are some strategy direction that guide us to and other allied ministry to prepare their own strategic plan for support sustainable development in Cambodia. And also that to respond to the demand of the growing economy, Cambodia have played another important role to mobilize resources. Like I mean that both technical or human resources and financial resources to develop kind of policy or any physical infrastructure, including road, bridge, airway and waterway and another regarding to how to design that waterways management and also that dumping site. And also that the royal government of Cambodia has been made very ambitious international commitment for the sustainable development and green growth and Paris Declaration on climate change by joining to develop Cambodian sustainable development goal and other strategic plan like in Ministry of Environment, we have a green growth strategic plan, we have a sustainable development strategic plan, we have many strategic plans that we work for the environmental and climate change reduction. And we also have like a create enabling environment or enabling policy environment to our government and arrangement to support a green growth initiative through policy formulation and implementation. So I think that as a GGI also like support us to develop many policy and strategy like sustainable city or sustainable energy that will support to achieve our sustainable development goal. So with the commitment and joining the global commitment and follow Cambodia rectangular strategy, Cambodia is designing, that 15-year roadmap to increase sustainable consumption and production. And also that we apply some issue regarding to that about issue regarding to the economic growth and growing population and to thinking about the circular manner by developing strategy and policies, certain policy. This because of growing population and growing economy, there is surge and lead to the waste generation that very crucial here in Cambodia, and our government, especially our ministry, very work close with the local authority to find a good solution, to find a good way to manage all the waste and waste collection. So as you may know that so far we have terminated the contractor to collect waste, and by renew for new contractor by dividing by 4 zones for the collection. So this is nowadays I think that we are in implementing the new method for the waste management. And another issue that we also thinking the way of that so far we only consider only the linear economy, and now we are thinking about the circular economy. So we have been work with our partner to develop a circular economy strategy, where we start to thinking about we interact the raw material until the residual waste. And this is a circular economy. We have like designing or defining the strategic objective by promote or increase sustainable production and energy use, and increase sustainable consumption by reducing waste generation and at the source, and improve effectiveness of waste collection and management, segregation and transport, and promote production, reuse and repair, increase recycling, composting, and energy recovery. That I think a part of them that Dr. Jerome already mentioned, that work with Battambang province and other industry to work on this waste recycling, and also that to ensure environmental control at the waste management and at site. So this is a strategy. This for strategy we need with the forget to the the key important role that related with promote environmental education and awareness raising. This is we are working with the Ministry of Education to integrate the environmental education into the national curriculum, and also that promote additional material to the primary and secondary school, and also that now we have like a policy, environmental education policy, and also pagoda policy that we to promote environmentally friendly. And another one, we are also preparing now is become finalizing soon for the sustainable consumption and production to achieve this circular economy, and also to achieve our SDG goal number 12. And yeah, this is for this circular the sustainable consumption and production. We conduct based on our scoping study, and we find out some gap and challenges that we have been found by have a discussion and meeting with the line ministry and key implement player for preparing this sustainable consumption and production. So I think that we from that scoping study, we had to thinking and reform our CP system. I mean that so far the concept of SCP have been introduced here in Cambodia a long time ago, but we don't have like a clear roadmap, clear strategy, or clear the system for that. And nowadays we have formulated SCP working group that chaired by the Ministry of Environment and vice chaired by Ministry of Economic and Finance, and another ministry as a member. So the this working group is guiding the direction to align ministry to develop a policy and strategy. So this reform system, we have several elements that we need to be considered from the production system. I mean that industrial ecology and life cycle analysis, clean production and pollution prevention, or sustainable manufacturing, and I spend EPO. And this is that we have identified from our study for the production system. And for distribution system, we are advertising reform, eco-labeling, and fair trade certification, and sustainable packaging, or full cost pricing. And this is one that we have to thinking about the circular economy model by providing certification and promote the competitive marketplace. And another system, we find that the consumption system is a very important one because of the life cycle, and this is be applied as a voluntary simplicity and customer information for the beginning, and also that the right to know about the education and for sustainability, consumer and action, and also that we thinking about ethical shopping, waste minimization. So this is the one that we engage with private engagement or stakeholder engagement, and also that we conduct public awareness or campaign with youth and children, and especially that we are working with the Ministry of Education. And also that another item we thinking about the investment system, that this is we are in discussion on what that the role of social I mean that the social responsibility for the investment, institutional procurement, and this is one that we are in preparing the policy for sustainable procurement, that we are close work with the Ministry of Economic and Finance, and also that the subsidy reform by eco-tech or tax shifting, ethical investment guideline, financial institution reform. And this is also that we try to work with the senior or top management from ministry, especially National Bank or Ministry of Economic and Finance, to talking about the loan that consider for the environmentally friendly. This is we come up with the first voluntary, but we try our best to create some certain guideline to for the environmentally friendly later on. And also that we thinking about the value chain that redefine the progress, happiness research and well-being research, define and measure the sustainability friendly and national sustainability strategy, a new narrative and visioning. So this is a sign of the cycle that we include with like the academia and also at the education agency that to research center to work on this. I think that recently we are working with the CSIP to develop some certain research for the environmental protection, and also that related with financial investment. So for Cambodia, why we thinking about the progress up to date to building on the Cambodia sustainable development policy and law. You know that this is we have the NSDP, I mean that National Sustainable Development Plan 2019 to 2023, and rectangular strategy that we have like a priority strategy to ensure the environmental sustainability and preemptive response to the climate change, and also promote resource efficiency and sustainability by implementing the principle of sustainable consumption and production. So from that, we have designed some Cambodia SDG goal. And why we talking about the SCP, we are very focused on the SDG number 12. So this is you may know that some several indicator very important one that we from Ministry of Environment and other ministry need to consider to formulate the policy and strategy, like indicator 12.4 or indicator 12.5, that we talking about the environmentally sound management for chemical and all the waste throughout the life cycle, and according to with the agreed international framework. And also that we are thinking about sustainability, reduce of waste generation through prevention, reduction, and recycling, and reuse, that where we have like develop what we call circular economy, that we are thinking about from the raw material extraction until the residual waste. So from that, we create some vision, like see a clear vision, create policy and strategy, and also that sectoral strategy, and also policy and action plan and regulation, a lot of regulation, a lot of some degree we have been made relative with or to support this vision, this direction. And also that thinking about to support the existing action and program, we are defining to work as a life cycle for sustainable consumption and production strategy by thinking about sustainable sustainable lifestyle, waste management, sustainable resource management, and design for sustainability and clean production and produce and resource efficiency, and mostly that we focus on energy and water use, and also sustainable transport. I think that we come up with the EV vehicle or like other policy that support to this sustainable transport. And we will also introduce eco-labeling and certification that now are being worked and developed by our national sustainable council, also sustainable development and Department of Green Economy, by working with GIZ and also the UNEP Swiss Asia to develop this eco-labeling and certification. And also develop a kind of sustainable procurement that I mentioned earlier, working with the Ministry of Economic and Finance by support technical support from GIZ, and sustainable marketing that also that support from GIZ. So I think that to the market competitive, this is sustainable marketing is a very important one, and we do hope that we will have to implement this as a to start with the volunteering first, and then that we are really thinking about the competition market later on. And this is talking about current sustainable development, sustainable consumption and production here in Cambodia. We are about finalizing. I think that we will launch soon as a plan. We will launch in this month, but because of some late for getting some consultation or getting input from other ministry, we support to launch this strategy in December. So this strategy we have 15 years. For the roadmap, and this is from 2021 to 2035, and the strategy we have considered for the 5 pillars. 5 pillars that mean that we define as a sustainable production, sustainable distribution and marketing, and sustainable investment, sustainable consumption, and finally value for sustainability. So this is the 5 pillars that we have mentioned and defined in our roadmap. With this 5 pillars, we have 22 strategy and define for I think that is about 86 priority action to develop and support to implement as a short-term and medium or long-term implementation. And I think that all this defining the issue and the action plan we found in our scoping study that we found the gap of the implementation of the sustainable development, especially to introduce the ICP in Cambodia as also that circular economy. So this is come up with the line D3 that we conduct that coping study. I may not detail much on that the action. As mentioned that in each pillar, because but just like main issue that we have, I just want to let you know, like the first pillar, sustainable production. We have to talk about sustainable manufacturing. I think that the one at GTI have been implementing with the sustainable industry and sustainable primary production and sustainable natural resource extraction, sustainable building and design. So this is like a cycle that before we do something or the project, we need to like thinking about the cycle, sustainable tourism and services. So this is one that we are very thinking about the ecotourism, that or hospitality, that thinking about that reuse to reduce the waste generation and recycling as well. And also sustainable business initiatives. So this is the one that we are some our partner already being implemented, like Jigman Group. I think that this is a very good model one, that initiative to work for the recycling manner or circular manner from the use of resources until the waste generation, and they like have to reduce the waste, have to reduce the carbon emission, and have to reduce the use of resources. The second pillar regarding to sustainable distribution and marketing, they have a mandate to for under this pillar. The first regarding to environmental labeling and production certificate. Second, sustainable packaging. This is I think that we work with the Ministry of Mine Energy and also MISTI to for the and support the SME for the sustainable packaging. I think this is a very important one that we try our best to work with them. And Ministry MISTI now introduced a green award. I mean that one of that sustainable packaging that they include on that. And trade initiative, and also the last one, the sustainable transport and logistics. So this is one that I mean that we're talking a vehicle, and also like logistics. We are talking about the support use of material or procurement. I mean that sustainable procurement. And the third pillar, we are talking about sustainable consumption, that we are define the mandate under this sustainable consumption. First is talking about the waste prevention, recycling and management, sustainable energy and consumption, sustainable water and consumption, and sustainable personal transport. The fourth one, the fourth pillar, sustainable investment. There are 4 mandates as well. We are defined as a national funding for sustainable consumption and production, investment for social responsible investment, and sustainable public procurement, and also innovative financing for sustainable technology. And the last pillar, we talk about the value for sustainability. That the first one, we need we like defining as the important mandate or important priority that we had to work as education for sustainability and to promote behavior change. And second, defining and measuring sustainability, and we never forget to include the gender and social inclusive sustainability. And nowadays we are developing the gender mainstreaming, and we are very thinking the role of men and women for the sustainable development, especially implementation of the SCP. And the last mandate of pillar number 5 is advancing knowledge and communication. So this is we use our media, social media, and at the platform to promote the understanding, promote knowledge on that circular economy as well as sustainable consumption and production. So I think that those 5 pillars we need to have institutional arrangement. As I mentioned earlier, first that we have the main forum is our Royal Government of Cambodia and Ministry of Environment as the secretariat to work on that, and also we have a National Council for Sustainable Development, and under that National Council we have ICP working group, we have a line ministry, we have a private sector development partner, and bilateral, and also that the relevant existing strategy and policy regulation to work for the achieve our CSDG goal, especially SDG number 12. And then we have called a circular economy. We have a ICP roadmap by defining plan, and also that to implement that we need to promote sustainable financing. So this is one that mechanism we also not just belong to the international source, but also we promote domestic funding as well. And promoting domestic funding, I think that one is a national budget, and another one we work as a social and environmental fund. That this is one that the Ministry of Environment have a sub-degree on this particular issue, and also that we have at the working with the Cambodian Institute for the Green Financing and National Committee for subnational domestic development, and also we have SME Bank. From the national international support, I think that we have multilateral development bank, we have United Agency, we have a bilateral donor, NGO, and also other fund that support to implement this fund. So there are a lot of gaps and challenges that we have found. I mean that policy and law, we need clearly work on that one, and a law sector that we need to apply that the law and policy, and also that we need to be introduce this law or enforcement law and policy to the line ministry, and fully implemented it at the national level as well as international subnational level by integrating the particular issue like a circular economy, like sustainable consumption and production. Another one, I think that although we work with some area from the government agency to private and development partner, but there are still a limitation to have the good forum to work and coordination to responsible for that particular issue as well. Somehow this fact of the unclear, but after we have the forum, I think that this forum is very important, that we might know that the role of our agency who implementation on board. And also we need a new research or study related with this issue to help and provide the input for the policy development and policy decision making. And also that we need the human and financial resource. I think that human resource is a very important one, but to implement this strategy in policy, because you know that although the concept, this concept already introduced in Cambodia so far, but they are still limited to implement this one, and also maybe related with our education from our population. I think that we need further discussion and develop some of curriculum and strategy to promote implementation of this strategy and policy. So we need also that incentive for the that we also currently are limited to initiative for the private sector to address environmental externality in production, and also that sustainability awareness are still limited. And last but not least, regarding to monitoring, reporting, and evaluation, we are very gap on that particular issue. So that one that from our ICP roadmap, we have like a ME log frame, ME framework. This is the tool that will help us to like prepare the report on the implementation this ICP. Yes, I think that capacity building we may need, and coordination and mobilization, and maybe another challenge because of rapid urban growth and growing pressure in urban area, that very problem with the use of energy and another waste generation, that we need very work with a local authority that plays a very important role. And I think this is all from my presentation, and I very welcome if any question regarding to this my presentation. Very pleased. Thank you. Hand over to your moderator, please.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency, for your insightful presentation and valuable remarks. So, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've been enjoying listening to our insightful comment from our honorable speaker. Our program now approaching to open for discussion. However, we have the time limit, so we will randomly select several questions to address. First, please allow me to pick 3 questions for our speaker. Excuse me. So the first question I would like to ask to refer this question to Dr. Sajid. What are the challenges that Jigman has faced in running their Semen and solar projects for supporting the SDG 12, and what are the intervention solution to use to solve this challenge? Dr. Sajid.
Yeah. So main challenge is actually, cement industry. It's like a highly energy and resource consuming industry. So therefore, we are keeping very high ambition on our sustainability numbers, which is actually key for success also. So therefore, at the moment, so implementation of these things, then we require the very high, what we call, innovations and support from all the government bodies as well as other international organizations and things, which is key. So therefore, from perspective of CO2 reductions and things, cement is one of the key emission CO2 emission generating industry. To go to that level to the lower is challenge, but we can do it. But there are several things that we are expecting from the example, improving this what we call new tariff systems with the solar and things will be help us to get these things done in quite well. So, but mainly in nutshells, cement industry has a main challenge is energy, thermal energy and electrical energy. So electrical energy, we want to go to the renewable sources, which is like a solar. So if you want, we require some what we call government support to promote this one. That is one thing. So then we will invest further in order to do that. And thermal energy also, now we are working with this waste management activities and things, which is Cambodia, still the sustainable waste management is in a primitive level. So therefore the waste polluter paying concepts are not there. I think extend the producer responsibilities and all these things if we can come. So it will help organization to perform well and achieve the required ambition targets, which finally help for the sustainable future of the whole world. So those are the main things.
Thank you so much for your answer. So the next question is how the government involve more private sector to contribute to the SDG 12. And I would refer this question to Her Excellency Min Lina. Her Excellency.
So yeah. So thank you. I just want water because I know water here next to me. Yes, thank you for the question. I think that this is a very good question, and we are very active. Administration or environment very active to join with the international commitment to promote or to achieve SDG number 12. I think that beside the preparing rule and regulation, maybe the sub-degree to promote the use of national resources, we also have like environmental code. I think this is one that we have mentioned and support to the SDG number 12. And another one, I think that another degree for the plastic management. This is one that we support also that support the SDG number 12, and also that I have mentioned in my presentation, we have a certain strategy and policy like sustainable development goal, development strategy. We have a sustainable energy strategy, sustainable city, and also that we have a kind of a green building guideline. This is one that we have to promote the SDG number 12. And recently, we are in already launched circular economy and being launched the sustainable consumption and production. So this is the role of the government that we have to support our ambitious, no, not ambitious, the goal of SDG number 12. So this for my comment.
Thank you, Her Excellency. For the next question, I think the question is, what are the GGDI's applicable penalty mechanism on the waste management for Cambodia context? And the question would be referred to Dr. Jerome.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What are the GGDI applicable penalty mechanism on waste management for Cambodia context?
Okay, so on the penalty, the work we do in Battambang. So as I said, it's not GGDI, it's the municipality who developed it with our support. So obviously, when it's done, it has to be fully aligned with the Cambodian laws and regulation, which was the process that was followed. So it was based on Sub-Decree 113, which is the sub-decree for the management of solid waste in city center, in cities, basically. So it's a pretty long document in Khmer, so I can't really go into details. But the idea was to have designated the roles and responsibilities within the government. So who oversees, because obviously when you have when you develop a penalty system, there are risks on both sides. So first you have to designate the members, the chair people to oversee the whole process, which obviously was the municipal governor. And then you have to designate who is eligible to actually give a penalty. So it was some designated municipal staff, some Sangat leaders, some member of the police, etc. Then there was also an appeal mechanism. So obviously, you don't want people to go around and start, fining everyone because without strong reason. So if somebody gets a penalty, there is a process that they can go back to the municipality and apply for a review process. I don't think it's fair that I was penalized. Can you please review? So there's like a dispute mechanism. And there was also a mechanism to, which was actually the main roadblock is how do you actually pay? Where does the money go? So they developed a system through the one window service at the municipality and a system to kind of identify who's responsible for the money, how it can be spent. But ultimately, yeah, it's up to the municipality to decide how they implement. But we think it's a good model that can be replicated in other municipalities as well. But yeah, otherwise, it's what others have said. Polluter pay principle is an important one. So not paying fees is actually against the regulations. So Sub-Decree 113 states that you must pay your fees, your waste collection fees, otherwise you can get a fine. So it's one tool to use the regulation to convince people that they should pay for waste management. Dumping waste, burning waste is also against the regulation as per Sub-Decree 113. So again, that fine mechanism can be used to convince people to stop burning the waste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jerome. Because we are running out of time now, so I would like to end our discussion here, and we would like to invite all our honorable speakers to open their webcam, and then we have a group photo together. done. Thank you so much for all honorable speaker for your kindly cooperation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellency,